We would be honored if you would join us.
All right, and welcome back to the Silvercast. This is part 3 with our episode with Britches. And if you guys have not checked out the first part or the second part, you definitely need to go do that. It's really, really interesting, informative, honest, funny discussion, and it has been a blast so far. And how you doing today, Britches?
Good, and you, man?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Thank you. How are you doing, SC?
Brother, I'm about as happy as silver in a furnace.
All right. Okay. And also, please note the disclaimer that Expat, Stacker, and Silver Conundrum are not financial advisors or experts. Investing is risky and comes with the chance that you could lose money. So talk to a licensed professional before making any decisions about what to do with your money. This video and all of the contents on our channels is for entertainment and educational purposes only and should not be taken as financial advice. In this part 3 of this episode, we're just going to be talking about how 2021 is starting to shape up. One thing I want to talk about right now is that not only in the United States, but around the world, monetary policy is just really loose, not like it's been very, conservative or anything like that, or sound or anything for a long time, but it's extremely loose right now. And, here's how I kind of see it. Some people, it is very extreme. Some people have a really hard time just living day to day. But there are other people who have piles of money, and people who have the money, they're nervous about what's going on in the stock market. Just liquidity is just crazy right now. All this stimulus that's going on and all the gains that we've seen in financial assets, and particularly the stock market. I think a lot of people are nervous about what's going on there. And people seem to be looking for alternative investments. So I think that's part of the reason why gold and silver and Bitcoin and everything else like that has been also going up. Even more obscure things, I've heard people talking about trading cards and like playing cards and all kinds of stuff.
Hey man, don't you judge Pokemon and Magic. I'm just saying.
Well, it's funny you bring that up because I actually know someone who talks about investing in Magic cards.
That's right.
So, I'm just saying that I think people are looking for places to put their money, because there's just so much of it out there right now, and for some reason, people just seem to be very nervous about what's going on in the stock market and everything that went on a few weeks ago with the Wall Street bets thing and everything like that. That kind of speculative behavior, and even before that, I don't know if you guys were familiar about like Hertz rental car, but like it was like going bankrupt and people were pouring money into it at the same time, and it just feels like this is what happens right before the bubble pops. I'm not I don't know. I'm no expert, but
Well, did this in 2008. Did the same thing in 1980.
Yeah,
did the same thing in 96 or 94. Did the same thing. Did the same thing in 2000. We're just reliving what Silver Britches said in our previous video a couple weeks ago when he was talking about the cycle of everything. We're just in another cycle, except for this cycle is like the screw you world, ready or not.
Yeah. Well, and I've heard people who have lived through that stuff who've said like this kind of seems there. It smells the same. That's one of the things I've heard. So basically, what I wanted to ask you is just like a couple of questions. First of all, aside from gold and silver, are you invested in any other sort of alternative investments?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes, I am. Now, I work for a company, right? They offer 401k. A lot of companies they offer some type of pension or whatever. Pensions are going away pretty much,
Yes, they
along
are.
with along with Social Security, right? I'm
Mhm.
not counting on Social Security to be there whenever it's time for me to, get out of the workforce. So I'm pretty much investing in myself and my wife. So a lot of people they chase like the fame companies, right? Your Apple, Facebook, Google, you know, the the acronym. Just look it up and you'll know what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
The things that you need to think about are what drives the market, what's driving the economy. Right now, a lot of things, you just throw it at the wall and it just sticks. You're just making money.
Mhm.
That to me screams everything bubble. It just screams it. You mentioned it yourself. Pokemon cards, trading cards, baseball cards, all that stuff is coming back. And it did the same thing right before the dot-com bubble, right? It was
Mhm.
huge in 98, 99 before the dot-com bubble, right? You're seeing it again. Also, what we just saw, I don't know if you guys caught it, but you had a death cross last week in the gold market. Did you guys catch that?
No, I didn't. Explain.
It went below the 200-day moving average. Usually, whenever that happens, okay, it's happened twice in the past 2 months. Whenever that happens, you start to go into a bear market. So if gold starts to go into a bear market, it actually starts to reflect in the stock market. And you had a bottoming of the dollar. I don't know if you guys caught those two at the same time.
No, I didn't pay attention to both of them at the same time. I knew it happened
Okay.
independently, but I never made the correlation.
Right. So normally whenever gold drops below the 200-day average, any stock for that matter, if it drops below the 200-day moving average, you don't want to touch it. Okay? That's
Rule of
pretty
thumb.
much investing, right? Investing 101. Don't just leave it. You want to see where it bottoms out, right? But you can also make money on the way down. Just remember that in the stock market. You can make as much money going down as you can going up. So right now, it's very, very sketchy to me to be throwing a bunch of money into the stock market. I know last year, it was like, you had a liquidation event, right? Everything went down. Everything was on sale. So if you just threw money into whatever it was, you made money, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
This year, it seems a little different to me. And I don't know if we're going to have another liquidity event, or I don't know if last year was the biggest dead cat bounce of all time. I don't know. But I know for sure that it was a K-shaped recovery. The poor, they just got poorer, and the rich, they just got richer. So,
That's right.
and if you were able to toe that line, then you were able to maintain. And people that are just maintaining, they're grasping at straws at where to put their money, just like you said. Right now, I'm having an internal argument about where to put my money.
Mhm.
So that's where I'm at right now. I have money on the side that I'm ready to put to work, but I'm afraid to lose it at the same time. So
Mhm.
that's that's the thing that's got me right now.
If you look at what's going on around us, the new executive orders that's been passed, the new green bills they're trying to do, how they're trying to make everything go green. Like here, so I've been watching everything that goes around me because I drive so far back and forth to work. I get to see a lot of the area. They just installed a bunch of big businesses here, just installed solar panels. If
Correct.
they're doing it, how many people outside of my local area are doing that? And you figure how many ounces of silver goes into that because of the new green mandates that are trying to push through. That's a big player, man. When you start looking at it, when every American is going to have to be forced to either one way or the other, green energy is a thing, electric cars are a thing, hybridized cars are a thing. Precious metals on the silver department, dude, they become high demand. And with silver being a disposable metal, which has been lately, like pretty much forever, They don't recover it. They just dispose of it. That's going to play its roles here very soon. And if these little businesses here are doing it, how many around the country are doing it? And then do the math.
And then around the world, because it's not only the United States. Right?
That's true. That's another good point too. Around the world. I have friends of mine all over the world that I talk to on a daily basis or every other day basis, and they said they're not being told to, they're being forced into the green movement, so to speak. It's not just the United States. That's right. It's on a global scale. Silver and platinum and palladium, because of what they do, they're going to be put into a different market, I think, very soon. Probably in the next 2 or 3 years, we'll see some major moves on the silver demands once they start getting the technologies put in places for these major areas.
That's a really good point. And I mean, I know for a fact, like in California, for example, they build a new building. It must have solar power, and in China, they have a lot of green initiatives as well, and just so many countries around the world, but especially in Asia, because air pollution is a really big problem over here, and they're also looking at it as the kind of growth engine of the future. They're thinking of fossil fuel industry as a dying industry, and so a lot of countries and people and companies around the world are going for that. So that's a really good point. And
Yep.
To get back to the sort of alternative investments, Silver Britches, you were saying that you're thinking about where to put your money right now. So if you had to choose one, which one would you do? And again, we're not telling anyone to do this, just
personal
Silver
opinions.
Britches. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
This is not financial advice.
Not even in the slightest. Don't take it that way, people. We're just a bunch of guys talking. Okay,
Yeah.
leave it at that.
I will tell you this. There is one thing I'm looking at. We all know how Elon Musk is, right? We all know how he tweets something and it just goes crazy, right?
Viral.
Right. So people get rich or they make money not buying the products, right? Those are what consumers do. You need to figure out who is supplying these companies their components to build their materials, and you need to invest in those companies. And right now, Tesla is actually looking for a new battery vendor, and you want to invest in that company. I can't remember off the top of my head. My dad actually recently just sunk a bunch of money into it, and he swears by it. And I haven't researched it myself, so I can't tell you that's where I want to put my money. But me, I'm more like I want to spread it out, right? I want to buy gold, I want to buy silver, and I also want to put it in crypto, and I also want to put it in equities as well. So I want to spread the wealth. You know what I mean? Whenever you open up your portfolio in the morning or in the evening, you want to see all greens, but it's very healthy to see a mix of red and green. That way, you're diversified well enough. So in the event that you have another liquidity event, you're not going to take that much of a beating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that's a very smart, approach, and I totally agree with the way your dad is thinking about it. There are a lot of battery companies over here in South Korea, and actually one of them, SK Innovation, they are planning to build a new factory in Georgia. So possibly it could be that one. It could be Samsung SDI. It could also be LG Chem, but they spin off their battery business, so now it's called LG Energy Solutions. And by the way, that company is the #1 electric vehicle battery supplier in the world, and they should be getting a NASDAQ listing probably next year, actually.
Right.
And another thing, it could also be CATL out of China or Panasonic out of Japan. But just to get back to the point of what you were saying is those companies, because those companies by themselves are huge, right? Like LG Chem, for example, they supply the batteries for the drones in the Amazon warehouses and stuff like that. They also supply GM's electric vehicle batteries, and they're already a supplier of Tesla's batteries. And all of these battery companies are attempting to grow. I think that the market was like $100 billion or something last year, maybe 200 billion, and it's supposed to go up to like 800 billion in the next few years. So it's huge. And here's another thing based on what you said is that other companies have to supply those companies, like the
Right.
battery suppliers. They need specific materials, they need specific chemicals and metals and things like that, and there are companies who supply them. And for some of those companies, they might have a patent on a certain type of chemical or a certain type of whatever. You have to do research and find out what those companies are.
Yep.
Same thing for these tech companies like Samsung Electronics and Apple. They don't like make every single component that goes into the phone. 5G is also a big thing that's on the rise, and that requires networks and antennas, and there are all these companies, these medium-sized companies and stuff that have a patent on something, and that's it. They're gonna ride the wave up. Here's another example. Amazon, everybody knows that, right? I think that might actually be one of the FANG stocks that you mentioned.
Yep.
But who's supplying think about their business. Who's supplying them with the things that they need? So here's one for you. Duke Realty is basically the real estate broker for Amazon. All their distribution centers, it's all done through Duke Realty, and I also just said LG Chem, they're also involved with Amazon. So you're right. You find these other companies, who the names are not that well known, but they're attached to these bigger companies and they have a reliance on them. That could be a good place where you might not get hit so hard when this everything bubble does eventually pop, as we all think it probably will. So you mentioned
It's a matter
crypto.
of time.
Yeah, right. Matter of time. So you mentioned about cryptocurrency, and I think I saw a video of yours recently where you said you took the plunge and you invested into some Bitcoin. Is that right?
I did not buy Bitcoin.
Oh, okay.
I bought Ethereum.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Well, the reason why I didn't buy Bitcoin is because it was, a lot of people are FOMOing and they're going crazy about it. And like I said, I always try to do as much research on something before I buy it. I've had a lot of friends telling me, you need to buy Bitcoin, you need to buy Bitcoin, you need to buy Bitcoin. And that was when it was at 20. I was like, man, it's at all-time highs. I'm not buying it. And then it went all the way up to 40, and they're still telling me to buy it. And I'm like, I'm not buying it. It's too high, And I'm just like, I have to research this. I have to be comfortable. And I actually made a video about it last March. And the reason why I didn't get in on it then, and that's when the liquidity crisis happened, right? Bitcoin was at $3,800 back then.
Mm.
And I knew about it. I knew I needed to buy it, but I was apprehensive about it because we were just entering a recession, and cryptocurrency has never reacted in a recession before. It's never had that opportunity. So I was very, very leery about putting money into it. I was like, well, I don't know how this is going to play out, So I didn't buy it. And I just watched it all year just keep going up, And Bitcoin ended up going up, was it 300 something percent? And Ethereum actually went up 700%. And the more I had to research it, okay, the more you dig into it, man, it's like the bigger the damn thing gets, It's like it's like a never-ending hole that you're digging once you get into crypto.
Yeah.
So I broke it down as easy as I could in my head. because I'm a simpleton. I'm trying to always break it down for my simple head. So I pretty much base it off of math. Every 4 years, you have the halving event, right? So it happens in cycles. So the cryptocurrency happens faster than your pullbacks in your economy. The pullbacks in your economy, they average about every 10 years. That's some normal max that they go. Well, Bitcoin, you have pullbacks every 2 years. So you'll have a bull cycle and you'll have a bear cycle. So probably at the end of this year, you'll have a bear cycle with crypto. So you're going to want to be completely in stable coins or out of crypto by the end of this year, probably around September timeframe, based off of the math that everybody's using, based off of prior bull runs. So if this bull run continues, you know, these guys are worse than the silver pumpers. You know, they pump this stuff way up. But based off of their numbers, and they're using these charts to base off their numbers, and it does make sense. The math adds up. If it continues the way that it's going and the way that it has in the past, then it makes sense, which has led me back to Ethereum. Ethereum is 5 years behind Bitcoin. What I would give to go back 5 years to Ethereum or to Bitcoin. So that's what's leading me to Ethereum and the overall potential that it has. And it's also still cheaper than buying Bitcoin, even though you can buy Bitcoin or any crypto by the piece. You know what I mean? You don't have to buy the whole thing. So that's what's got me intrigued, is the overall potential of Ethereum catching up to where Bitcoin is now, because it's 5 years behind.
And that's a strong possibility too, though. I mean, if you follow the trends of what's going on around us, look at the coins that are slightly younger than Ethereum. Look at where they're at, and look at what's going to happen in the same amount of time. So what you said makes 100%, 100% sense, because it's like you said, it's all a numbers game.
Yes, it's all. That's the thing about crypto, is it's all pretty much math and engineering. It's not manipulated yet. It's getting there, because you're seeing a lot of institutional wealth pouring into it right now. But they're pouring into Bitcoin. They're not necessarily pouring into Ethereum the way that they are like Bitcoin.
Well, that's the biggest known name across. You say cryptocurrency to anybody, they say Bitcoin. They don't say anything about any other coin, because it's like a crescent wrench. Crescent wrench is a brand. I mean, so when you say channel locks are a brand. And when people talk about crypto, they say Bitcoin, and instantly everything is Bitcoin. And all they know is Bitcoin.
Right. But I do think it's important to have a little bit of those two. And I know a lot of people, they frown on having cash on hand, right? They frown on that. And I agree, you should be putting your money to work somehow. Well, I haven't done it yet, so please, you know, use extreme caution when you do this, okay? But I've been thinking about it extremely hard. Is, say I don't want to invest in the stock market, or I don't want to invest in cryptos, or I don't want to invest in the possible crypto ETFs that are coming up. Say I just want to take advantage of getting some interest. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of BlockFi.
No.
Nope.
No. Okay. Well, BlockFi, what it is you deposit your crypto to them. They use it like banks use your money that's in the bank, but they pay you interest on it. So I want to say for Bitcoin, they pay you 5% APY. For Ethereum, it's somewhere in that neighborhood as well. But if you deposit the USDC, which is pretty much based off of the dollar, right? If you just put that in there, they pay you 8.6 interest on that money, whichever amount you put in there and stake. So you're actually generating passive income and putting your money to work without putting your money to work. Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense. Just
Yeah.
a modern, sounds like a modern day savings account.
Correct. Or the way that savings account used to work.
That's right.
Because right now, crypto is having a hard time keeping liquidity in the markets, and they need fuel for what people are using crypto for. So they're actually paying extra amount of money for you to deposit your crypto, which is just sitting in your cold storage anyway, and putting it to work. And therefore you generate passive income off of your crypto. But like I said, it doesn't come without risk, which is why I haven't done it yet.
Mhm.
A hot wallet is not as secure as your cold storage, but they deposit it on cold storage in their facility. Okay, but the kicker is it's not backed by the FDIC. You're not guaranteed to if it gets hacked, you're not guaranteed anything. You could lose everything, essentially,
Mhm.
is what I'm taking from it. So that's one of the reasons why I haven't done it yet. If you put it in a bank, you know what I mean, it's FDIC insured up to a certain amount of money, right? But it's
Mm-hmm.
just sitting there. If you just have cash sitting there, it's not really doing anything for you. So some people do it. They swear by it. They love it. It's supposed to be like super secure, but I don't know. I'm just very untrustworthy when it comes to that. But it does have, my interest peaked.
Oh yeah. I mean, I honestly had never even heard of that. It sounds like a good
No,
idea.
there's actually two banks, I want to say. Well, they're not banks, but they're two crypto exchanges that just got approval to be pretty much listed as a bank. Okay.
Mhm.
And one of them is Anchorage and the other one is Kraken. Now, you probably have heard of Kraken, but I don't know. I mean, it's like brand new stuff. So I don't know 100% if it's backed by FDIC. If the federal government approved it, you would think so, but I'm not.
It'd have to have
I'm
some
not
sort of backing.
right. So that's how you know that the institutional way of storing money is changing, and it's getting very interesting. So you're also going to have a lot of your crypto exchanges. They're going to come on and do their IPOs. I know that last year that was the thing, IPO year, right? Everybody
Right.
wanted to go public. So a lot of your exchanges are just going to start going public. So that's going to be, ground floor stuff, get in on that, whether, you're putting a little bit of money in there. Like I said, spread it out. And that's what I plan on doing.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Good thinking and being on the ball. Kind of having a vision of what's coming up next in the market. So and these things, they happen very quickly, and people have to play catch up. So it's good to get that information, now, and people can start looking into it. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it really it's going to pique your interest and you're going to start digging and you're like, holy crap, this is very big.
Well,
So
with
it's
you saying that, it reminds me of what and I've said it 1,000 times. I'm gonna say it 1,001. It reminds me of what the central banks as well as the Federal Reserve is talking about going to a CBDC. That what you
correct.
just said makes everything that I've been saying. It gives it a little bit of volition to it, and so
Yeah.
it makes me think in the back of my head. Okay, they are doing this. If they made two crypto exchanges, government based and backed, that means FDIC or sorry, not FDIC, but the cryptocurrency from the central banks is going to be a thing. It's going to be happening. It's just when.
Correct. It's just a matter of time. And that's the way everything is going. And you want to be in on that in the ground floor, if you know what I mean. You want to,
That's right.
I mean, that's just like getting in on like your FANG stocks whenever they first came out. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, they were cheap.
So it's just like, you're getting in at the very beginning of this stuff. So crypto is not going away. They've tried to kill it, I don't know how many times.
And they
And
can't.
I've been apprehensive the whole time about, getting into crypto. And I'm still leery about it, even though I know I need to get more. So with the premiums on silver and gold, very, very high right now, I'm actually buying crypto instead.
Mhm.
Huh. But mostly Ethereum.
Correct.
So let me ask you this: is there, with the onset of central bank backed digital currencies, does it concern you at all that they, like, what would be the fate, the future or the fate of these other cryptocurrencies? Like, I heard a statement from, last week from, one of the, um, European central bank governors, and he said that people who are invested in Bitcoin should be prepared to lose, quote, all of their money. And basically, I guess the point is that, like, I mean, on the one hand, he's saying it's very risky and blah, blah, blah. But on the other hand, saying that central bank backed digital currencies will replace these other cryptocurrencies. Now, from my personal opinion, um, I think that that could happen with, like, a lot of these smaller altcoins and whatever. But for some of the bigger names like Ethereum or Bitcoin, or whatever, these other coins that have been at the top, they're pretty established, and people who've spent any time, looking into crypto know them. Then it seems to me like they might function as a sort of like a reserve digital currency, the way how gold and silver kind of function as a kind of, reserve currency to all other, um, uh, fiat currencies, right? I mean, I could take an ounce of gold and go get any currency in the world that I want. You know what I mean? So,
Correct.
like, do you think that that is how Bitcoin and Ethereum and some of these other coins are going to survive, going forward with the onset of central bank backed digital currencies? Or, I mean, what's your opinion or view on that?
Well, it's all about whether or not you can make money, right? That's pretty much the focus of government, is to generate income as well, right? So cryptocurrencies is another way to generate income. Anytime you send or receive crypto, someone's getting paid. So if the government is not charging a tax on that, they're missing out. So it's advantageous for them to not squash cryptocurrencies. It's
Mhm.
actually beneficial for them to stay there because it's just another way to exchange money. That's all it is. And Bitcoin being the way it is, like I said, they've tried to kill it I don't know how many times, and they just can't do it. I think it's died 3 or 4 times this year alone. Like I said, more institutional money is pouring into it. A lot of your banks are actually selling gold and putting money into it.
Mhm.
That should tell you something. If
Yeah.
the rich and the wealthy are going there, shouldn't you get a piece as well?
Yeah.
That's right. Don't
Well, the
listen to
other
what
thing,
they say, but follow what they do.
That's right.
yeah, the other thing too is that, I mean, the nature of Bitcoin is that it's so decentralized. It's very
Correct.
difficult for them to stamp it out. Some of the other coins, though, because the downside of that, right? The downside of the decentralization is that it is slow to complete a transaction. But some of the other coins which have tried to, um, mitigate that or overcome that are more centralized. And also, there's the whole proof of work versus proof of stake thing with these coins.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are more centralized, and they might be able to be, they might be less secure. They might be faster, but they also might be easier to control. So, like, I just wonder, I believe that even if they try, like you said, they've tried several times, to talk bad about Bitcoin and try to kill it off, and all these things, but it's not going to happen. But I just wonder how these private cryptocurrencies are going to survive alongside the sovereign ones. So that's going to be interesting to see. But I agree with you. I think that it'd be a very wise choice to have some, you know.
Right.
And
At least have some. I'm not saying put your entire life savings into it. I'm just saying, just like gold and silver, right? You should have a
A
decent mix of
percentage.
both. Right.
yeah,
A
yeah,
percentage of your net worth should be involved in something else. You shouldn't be all in on one thing or the other. I think you should
Well,
be
that
well diversified in your
well, that goes
portfolio.
back
It's
to what
just
you said before. You said that before, and you drove that point home. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, figuratively speaking. Have everything sorted out. I mean,
that's right.
otherwise you're gonna be screwed if that one market crashes.
Yeah. Yeah. Because then you got nothing.
That's right.
So, are there any other non-traditional assets that you're looking at, or it was kind of funny the way you described the crypto? It's like the more you learn about it, the more you realize you're just lost. And
Yeah,
I think it is very difficult to understand. But are there any other assets that you look at, or is it just like all the cryptocurrencies are kind of consuming your attention at this time?
well, at the moment, is I'm really looking at crypto because it's in a bull cycle. So
Mhm.
I'm trying to not per se chase it, but I'm putting money into it, but I'm also observing and I'm trying to track it. You know what I mean? I'm trying to see what it's doing. That way I can set myself up for the next bull cycle because that's pretty much what it's all about for me. I'm a little late on this one. So I'm setting myself up according to the math and I'm watching and observing how this cycle is playing out. That way I can apply it to the next one and be set up and ready to go for the next one. So that's pretty much what's consuming a lot of my time right now. And that's pretty much why I haven't been making a whole lot of videos is because I'm just really consumed about just charting it and just really seeing how this thing just plays out. It's crazy. The way that these things move, I mean, it's unreal. They move, they can move 40 to 50% in a day. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
So, and you don't even know which ones are gonna pop. So it's crazy. But
yeah,
the one thing that keeps driving me to Ethereum is the overall platform and how many altcoins are actually built on top of the Ethereum platform. And the other thing that's really driving me is that the 2.0 rollout is coming here soon. And it's not going to fix everything, but it's going to fix some things, and that should give it a boost as well. So some people are talking like it's going to go 10K this year. I don't know. I'm I'm not guessing anything like that. I'm treating it as an asset, as like I would silver and gold. I'm just going to hold it at this point. I'm not going to sell it.
yeah. I think that's probably smart, you know. And I have looked into cryptocurrency a little bit in the past. Um, I'm in Korea, so different rules and laws out here, and it's starting to become more relaxed. But when I was looking at it a couple of years ago, Bitcoin was around $2,000 and or $3,000 or something, and I regret not trying a little bit harder to get
Oh
onto an
yeah.
exchange. But
Oh
it's
yeah.
okay. It's all
And,
right.
and like I said, if you don't understand something, if you don't understand something, it's kind of dumb to call it a fake or a hoax if you don't even know what it's about. So a lot of people that comment in my video, like I made my last video, they're like, "Oh, that's you don't know what you're doing. You're crazy to put it into there." And it's just like, this is my money. It's I feel comfortable as far as my position with gold and silver. That I'm not paying these high premiums right now. So what am I going to do with my cash? I'm going to buy another asset that I think is doing well, and the math just makes sense. So that's what I've been doing. So
Yeah.
a lot of people are very apprehensive about that, which is fine, and I get it. But it's going mainstream, and what I mean by that is a lot of your big banks, you're going to start these ETFs, right? So
Mhm.
you're going to be able to invest in crypto without investing in crypto. So it's coming. I mean,
Yeah.
it's going to be mainstream. No matter, it's here to stay. Once Wall Street gets their claws in it, it's not going away.
Yeah. I agree. And I mean, we've talked about central banks, and again, here in Korea, they're experimenting with central bank backed digital currency. China's doing it. There are a lot of countries that are doing it right now. And like, actually, I heard on was it Silver Game of Thrones channel. He talks a lot about it, and he had mentioned the Bahamas. And part of the reason they did it is because they're an archipelago. Bunch of islands scattered around and stuff. So
Right.
it's very difficult, even with online banking and stuff like that. They don't have the infrastructure for it, or ATMs or whatever, like that kind of stuff. So it just works better for their country. And so it's a technology that exists and people find utility in it. And yeah, we kind of don't understand it. And there's like, doggy coin or whatever it's called. And like, it's crazy. It's the Wild West, but like, you don't have to be so afraid of what you don't understand that you just like shy away from it or shun it or
Right.
like say it's the devil, you know.
Yeah.
You,
If
you
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 have
have
no
to
experience
take it
with
for what
something,
it is.
how do you have an opinion of it? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
If you've never bought or exchanged it from peer to peer or whatever, how can you form an opinion of it based off
yeah,
of what somebody else tells you?
yeah. It's just like refusing to try a food because you don't like the way that it looks. And then you think that that it tastes bad and all this kind of stuff. It's like you never tried it before. How do you know? You know? So
Correct. Correct.
yeah.
So if you're like on the fence about it, right? Like if you don't know if you think you should be doing it. Well, I'll tell you what. There's one that I like, and I'll actually leave it on my exchange, and it's Algorand. It's a crap coin like they call. But that crap coin, okay, it pays you 6% APY if you leave it in your wallet on the exchange.
Mhm.
Can you get that with leaving your money in the bank?
No,
No.
absolutely
Okay.
not.
And this crypto goes up and down. So, like I said, if you leave it in there, they actually pay you in interest in more crypto. So you're actually gaining money on top of the money you already got in there.
Yeah,
So,
that's good. Yeah,
and it doesn't
yeah,
cost a lot of money. It's still in the cents. So you're still like, say you put $100 in there and you got so much of it, they're still going to pay you that 6%. Plus, it goes up over time. You're just compounding interest essentially, and you're making
yeah,
money.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just very similar concept to the dividend stocks.
Correct.
Getting
Correct.
on to it, it adds up over time. So you
It's
know,
just these move very fast both ways. So you need to have a pulse and you need to watch it.
yeah,
But if you treat it just as an asset and just hold it, then it doesn't really matter what it does, right? So
right, right, yeah. It depends on what kind of person you are, honestly. It really does. I
right.
think whenever I do eventually take the plunge and get into it, like probably I will choose a price point and get in on it, and I'll just throw it away and not really look at it for a while, until
Right.
I hear some news that like I wasn't planning on looking at it, but oh, it's doing great, and then I'm gonna look at it and be like, okay, all right, now I'm more comfortable. Now I'm gonna get into it a little bit more and stuff. So because like I said, I've already looked into it a little bit, but it's just me being an expat, because there are like rules and restrictions and stuff like that, like based on your nationality and all these things, is it's confusing about me starting up one of these. At least it was a few years ago. It's probably a lot easier now. So I'm gonna look into it again now, actually, after having this conversation. So
Well, let me ask you this.
yeah,
Have you ever heard of a VPN?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
How would that work? I don't know that much about a VPN. I know about it. Like you can move yourself, your digital footprint around the world that way. I don't know if that would help you in that situation.
Yeah, the thing is, like, when when I tried to sign up for it in the past, like, it wanted my phone number and things like that, and like my phone number is Korean, so I was trying to sign up with like all my US information and stuff like that, right? So but like I said, I didn't really try that hard, actually. I tried like one or two times. And then I tried to sign up for one over here in Korea, and it was like, you're not Korean, so you can't do it, like, because there's rules on like I said, nationality and citizenship. And then the American ones are like, oh, you don't have a phone number or whatever. So I just kind of gave up because I was like, whatever, I was just kind of getting started with
Right.
investing, period, at that point. So I was like, I'm just gonna focus on like stocks and like gold and stuff like that right now. But man.
But I know there's like a website where you can actually trade crypto,
Mhm.
like say Webull or anything like that, and it's the same exact thing, but it's for crypto and it's all crypto stuff. But you
Yeah.
can't do it inside the United States. So
Mhm.
the only way that you can do it is to have a VPN,
Mhm.
and then you can move yourself, and then you can go and exchange and trade crypto on that platform.
Yeah.
So I'm just throwing that out there to you. I don't
Yeah.
do it. If I'm not trying to evade taxes, so
Yeah.
I believe in paying my taxes.
Yeah.
I've been
Legal
down that
legal
road before,
here.
and I don't want to go back.
Legal disclaimer here, but no, but yeah, I mean, I think that it's like you said, it changes so quickly, and like the rules of the game also change very quickly. So I think it's time to look into it again. So I probably
Right.
won't get into it until it like goes back down, I think, but we'll have to see. But yeah, I mean, very interesting discussion here about the way things are going in 2021 and beyond, and lots of interesting, somewhat scary, and unknown things going on, but also a lot to learn. And I learned a lot from this discussion. Um, is there anything else you wanted to say in terms of like how things are going or investing or anything like that?
Uh, yeah. One thing that a lot of people in our community do, right, and I kind of want to call it out a little bit,
Yeah.
is you hear money printing, right? You hear that all the time, right?
Mhm.
Okay, money printing, also known as QE, quantitative easing.
Yep.
That right? They say that 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 is, what is it? 20% of the money supply has been created in 2020.
Mhm.
And they say, well, this is going to lead to massive inflation. Well, technically, QE is not. It's not going into the normal economy. QE stays inside of the banking system. And that's what all these guys get so wrong is the banks essentially sell bonds back and forth to the Fed with QE. That's what takes place, okay?
Mhm.
And that money is not entering into the regular market. That's what's happening. That's what's taking place. So yeah, you had a lot of money creation last year, but it's still inside of the banking system. They're not lending it out like they normally would. So until you see the velocity of money increase, then you'll see that massive inflation that they're talking about. But right now, that's not taking place. So I just wanted to clear that up. And if you don't know anything about what I'm talking about as far as the velocity of money, you guys know what
It's
that
a real
is?
thing. Absolutely.
Yeah, SC made a
Okay.
video on that
Oh,
not too
good.
long
Good.
ago, and someone else did as well. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So many people get that so backwards. But yeah, that money that the Fed creates, right? What is it up 7 to 8 trillion now?
Uh,
Hmm.
That stays inside the banking system. It's not inside the circulation. Right now, I want to say it's like 1.5 or something like that trillion. I can't remember off the top of my head, but Yeah, the velocity of money has actually slowed way down. So
Hmm. Yeah, the money in circulation, that's like M2.
right,
Yeah, so like this kind of what we were discussing before. It's just like the community sometimes can be an echo chamber. So just
right.
make sure you look into things. Like it's easy to share information, but you have to verify that information for yourself. So I think that's a
Yeah.
really good point.
Because what people do is they find something that's going to fit their narrative, and then they just give that one little piece of information. They don't give you the entire story. They
Yeah.
find
Because then it
something that
defeats their whole purpose.
that's right. They find something that fits their narrative to push their angle for you to buy their product or whatever. You know what I mean? Because everybody's a salesman. So
Yeah.
they just find something to fit their narrative as to why you should be buying this instead of that. So just I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, no, that's a good public service announcement, for sure. And
I have to go watch that video, man. If you made that video.
yeah, it's a good video. There's a few videos actually out there about that topic right now. So definitely good, and definitely, I think we've mentioned it on a lot of our discussion topics here, is that you got to look into things for yourself. Just don't just
Correct.
take what somebody says. I always say this. I think something that's very important for everyone, and it really needs to be taught in school, but it's not. But even for us, it's very important, is digital literacy, which is being able to tell what is a fact, what's an incomplete fact, what's an opinion, whether it's designed to inform you of something, to sell you something, to entertain you. I mean, what's the purpose of it? Why was it created? What are these sources? Is it a primary source, a secondary source? Nobody knows any of this stuff. They just see things on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and then they just think, like you said, they just take that and fit it in with their worldview, and everyone becomes an ideologue. I like this fact. I'm going to use this, right? I don't like this fact. I'm just going to outright reject it or say it's not true or something. Like, the lines between reality and uh, fantasy are getting blurred. So you mentioned the
Right.
flat earther thing, but I mean, like, that is actually a symptom of people being digitally illiterate. There's so much information. Just think about back in Europe, right? The Protestant Revolution and everything that came from the printing press, the book, right? And books have influenced human society for thousands of years. Well, imagine that on steroids times a million. That's what the internet is. So we really have to use it very carefully. So
Well,
very
the
good.
internet has given, how do I put this mildly? The internet has given the fringe a voice that would normally never otherwise be heard. That's just a fact of the matter, to where when they put it out in such good ways, it can warp people's judgments based off of what they say.
Yeah. I mean, whether, even if someone isn't intentionally, trying to change the meaning for, some purpose that, like, is selfish or whatever, I mean, two people can witness the same thing, right? Like, if you're standing on one side of the street and I'm standing on the other side of the street, and we both see a car accident and we both give our account of what happened, your perspective is different than mine. Doesn't mean you're wrong. Doesn't mean I'm wrong. It means we have different perspectives. It's important to, note that and clarify that. But everything is like instant. You know what I mean? So people lose that. They forget about that importance of that. So I think that, like, even if it's not somebody who's from the fringe, and maybe somebody who's more established, or whoever it is, it's an important thing. So I think that the point about the QE that Silver Britches brought up is a perfect example of that, about how something just gets passed around and passed around. It's like that old game in, like, elementary school. Like, you say something and whisper it in somebody's ear, and then they whisper it in somebody else's ear, and then it goes all the way around, and then they say it out loud. and it just becomes something totally different than what you originally said. So
Yeah.
it's crazy. It's crazy. And especially with crypto, like you said, I mean, there's already enough misinformation out there about like gold and silver and stuff, but crypto, it's like, man, they're like, this thing's going to 100,000 and then 1,000,000. You know, it's like, dude, chill, man.
So
You,
so let me ask you this. Would y'all be interested in a crypto that was backed by gold?
There's actually
Yes.
about 6 of them out there.
There you go.
yeah,
And there's one, I think it's GDX. I think it's
Yep.
just, it's not available to buy. It may be available to buy, but it's not on any exchanges, I don't think. I could be wrong. I have to look at it, but I want to say it's like 10 cents right now. And it's backed by physical gold. And they're actually going to have, it's pretty much like a miner, right? They're actually going to have mining cameras and everything else already there. So you can see the whole process.
yeah. The previous episode of the Silvercast, we had on Juice Stacker, and he was talking about that. And in the description of that video, I left a link which has a bunch of links. It's like a resource. It's a link, and then it takes you to a website, and it has a bunch of different cryptocurrencies that are backed by gold. So like everyone can check out that video, and you can see it even has ones that in the past were kind of planned, and then for whatever reason they were kind of defunct, you know, or like abandoned, or it has ones that are in the process of actually being made right now. So looking at it right now, yeah, it's goldscape.net. So they have a breakdown. It's pretty good. Pretty good. But yeah, it's on my channel, the Silvercast episode 7, part 3. So but man, wow, this has been a very, very eye-opening discussion, very funny, and lots of really good points. And man, Silver Britches, man, you know, really, really appreciate your generosity, your time, and for you just like keeping it 100% real, and sharing your philosophy and your message with everybody, man. Really, really appreciate that. It's been awesome having you on here. I'm sure everybody's gonna go crazy over these episodes.
Dude, you know, I've watched your videos, and since you started putting them out, you watched mine since I started putting them out.
Yeah,
That's-
yeah.
I really appreciate it, and I'm more than happy to come on. I reached out to you guys, if
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken, because I you know, because like I said, I'm a fan of people on YouTube. I just can't watch everybody's videos. It's
You don't have enough time in the day.
no, you don't. So actually, I do listen while I'm at work. So I hear a lot of videos, but I don't always watch them all
Yeah.
because I'm, you know, like I said, I'm a blue collar worker, so I can't just stay on my phone all day. So,
We get in trouble for that.
that's right. So I do listen to a lot of videos, and I need to comment more. And like I said, man, I'm a fan of your channel, and I watch the majority of your videos. I do need to go back and watch some more.
Yeah, no, man, no, it's all good, man. Everybody who's a content creator knows about it. So, and you know, I gotta give credit to Aloha Stacker. He said to me like, hey, man, you know, I want to listen to this Silvercast while I'm running, or like while I'm driving to work or whatever. So, you know, I'm gonna be putting out that actually already on SoundCloud. So anybody who wants to just listen and not watch the video portion of it, you can definitely check that out. I'll leave a link in the description of my videos for this. And yeah, man, no, it's all love, brother. I mean, I had times where I go missing from YouTube as well. You know what I mean? Life happens, man.
We know.
Everybody
We
understands.
know.
It's all good, man. It's all good. And you've already done a lot for everybody, man. So thank you very much, dude. Really appreciate it. All right. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and we will catch you all in the next one.
Everybody have a good day.
All right, y'all. Be safe out there.